was a movie called Dead Presidents. It's about these brothers from New York who went to Vietnam, and they went ended up in a recon team there. And recon ain't no joke. Recon is like it is special forces, Marine Corps Special Forces, recon. They drop you in groups and you do all kinds of special missions and stuff. Well, in the movie, one of the guys chopped a head off and was carrying it with him. And the other guys in the platoon were saying, "Hey man, get rid of that thing, man. It stinks. What are you doing?" And he said, "Hey, it's our good luck." He said, "If you've noticed, since I took this head, we haven't had any casualties. Everything has been good." And the lieutenant looked at him and said, "Hey man, get rid of that thing. I'll court-martial your ass." So he said, "Okay." And he took it over and he was digging the hole. He said, You wait now. You wait and see. We're in trouble now." And then he buried the head and threw it out. Well, after that, they got hit. Now, whether that was a coincidence or whatever, there was people who did that kind of stuff, man, who chopped heads off, who cut women's breasts off, who, like I said, took fingers and made belts out of them or necklaces or stuff. The inhumanity of war is unbelievable. There's this one brother who did 3 tours in Vietnam as a sergeant, combat sergeant. First 2 was with the 1st Air Cav, and the next one was with the 101st Airborne when the war was winding down. He said, "I never worried about a wounded Vietnamese soldier turning around and killing me." He said, "because I made sure that they were all dead." He said, you see movies of people walking around after battle and shooting someone in the back of the head. He said, "That's no joke. That's just insurance. You just want to make sure, And George, his only regret, he said, in my 3 tours in Vietnam, hard to say how many people I killed. He said, 100, 200, I don't know. I wasn't counting. He said, but the one thing that I do remember, one time in my first tour, there was like a baboon up in this tree. And he said, and I shot it. And he said, he has a picture of him holding it like this with its long arms, and he's holding it out like that. He said, that was the only time I ever felt bad. When I got back home and I looked at that picture and I thought to myself, why did I kill that? He said, it wasn't trying to kill me. It wasn't trying to hurt me. He said, all the other ones I killed, they were trying to kill me, so that's why I killed them. He said, but this right here, it was innocence, and I always felt so terrible that I killed him. Well, the killing thing, once it gets into you, you can see it in people. And then you have to realize all the things that have went on with them, their partners that they've seen be killed, so it builds up in you, and after a while, everything is the enemy. When I look back on all of it, I used to think to myself, I remember there was times where I was up in the mountains all by myself, and I think to myself, was that just a bad dream? Did I just imagine that? Or did that really, really happen? And then I would look at my arm, and I'd see the bullet hole that went through here and came out the other side. And that would always make me say, no, it wasn't just a bad dream. It really did happen. I really did see all those incredible things that I couldn't believe. One of the things, again, the day that you never ever wanted to be captured. That was just one of those things. You weren't an officer. You weren't anybody who had any intelligence they wanted. You were stupid. You were just a dumb, and you're in the jungle. You don't know what's going on. You're just in this jungle and trying to survive against all of the elements and the enemy who's trying to kill you. So it's my partner Leslie Kay, who was also 18 years old at the time he was in Vietnam. He said, Larry, and these are his words. He said, them white boys, they're crazy, man. He said, we had some in our platoon that just killed, just to kill. He said, I could never do that, man. He said, they're people, Larry. He said, there was times where they wanted us to open up on them. He said, I wouldn't open up on them. He said, they weren't combatants. They were people in the villages and stuff. The guys who knew this stuff and who did some of the things that they did, I always think to myself, currently they were talking about waterboarding, but oh man, that's inhumane. You can't. When in Vietnam, when they talk about interrogations, interrogation means torture. It's a fancy word for torture. They do all kinds of things. They waterboard, they put a thing over your face, and with a canteen they pour the water over so you can't breathe, so you're suffocating. Electrical stimulus. On the radios they had these crank-up things. They would take those and connect them to testicles and stuff and ask questions. They would do all kinds of unbelievable. My friend Barry, who lives in San Francisco now, he killed someone, a civilian, by mistake. And he said when he went, and he felt bad about it, he thought that, man, and when he went and reported it, they said, hey man, don't worry about it. Shit happens. And it was like, wow, nobody cares. Nobody cares what you do.